Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Office Hours. I'll just be waiting here until I see some chat activity. Here, give me a sec. Let me just paste this into the chat right now. Welcome to Office Hours. Take any questions? Oh, yeah. Take it. I can answer any questions you have. All right. Oh, Lightning, what's up? Good to see you in chat. Let's see. So, quick update on things around the world. I guess right now we're in the middle of December, so we have the December SAT scores coming up uh, on Friday. And besides the December SAT scores, we also have the early decisions coming out for college applications. Beyond that, there's also winter break. Some students should be starting their winter breaks like now, and most other students should be starting their winter breaks next week. So, if you're on the American calendar, that is, and that means holidays are here. So, hope everyone's looking forward to the holidays, spending time with family, and maybe getting some good gifts, and maybe giving some gifts. If you're here, just say hi. Let me know how you're doing, where you're calling in from, and if you have any questions, just shoot in chat. If I don't really see any questions, then I'll just kind of be doing my own thing. Oh, I accidentally pressed the button. Give me a sec. Yep. So if I don't really see any questions, you can just chat with each other until then, because I'll just be doing my own thing. Let me quickly update my YouTube chat, which I didn't fix. So here it is. All right. So YouTube chat is now on the screen, and we can get started. How much the letter recommendations matter? I mean, they matter. They matter. It's part of the a a sub function of it is that it verifies that you are really the kind of person that you say that you are. So, it's easy to just lie on a college application. Letter recommendations kind of help corroborate that story to make sure that your the people around you are actually on your side. Now, it doesn't matter, but that it depends on the school that you're at. If you're at a very new school that needs, right, the school needs their first like Ivy League admit, so it's actually possible that the school is actually on your side because they're also not really being totally honest. And it's possible that the admissions officers who are less familiar with your school may not factor in the letters of recommendation as much. So it kind of depends on your context. If you're at a well-established school that has sent plenty of kids to top schools, and now it's the reputation of school that matters more. They need to not have a reputation of being dishonest. They need to just uphold a certain standard. Plus, the college already knows what to expect because they know that the graduates from your high school tend to do pretty well academically. If they already have that kind of information in the background, then those letters of recommendation can really matter quite a lot in terms of differentiating between the various applicants that there are. So it's contextual. It really depends on where you're from, and kind of like you just have to think about it from a human standpoint. Like, how much does it really improve their trust in you, right? And the letters of recommendation is just one of the tools that are available for you to increase their trust in you. David, okay, welcome to the stream. Glad you're here, and sorry to hear that you got rejected from your early school, Stanford. Stanford's a tough school, so obviously it's not there's no guarantees. Even if you have an amazing application, it's just Stanford's so tough, and I hope you have a good plan for. I hope you have a good plan for just kind of attacking the regulars. So let me know what your thoughts are on how you're going to approach the regulars, and if especially if there's anything that kind of you get stuck on, like you're not sure what to do for your regulars, go ahead and ask that question to me, and I can try to help to the best of my ability. With the quick disclaimer that I am not a college admissions professional. It's not really my focus. I do not I know what the industry is like. I used to be part of it and don't really like it. So I have decided not to do college admissions work. But uh, it's just one additional opinion, right? Ew. We got Aaron here. Oh, ED2. ED2. So hang on. Right, ED2 is just the same schedule as regular, right? Yeah, it's just that it's a decision. All right, cool. So okay, well, good luck with. It seems like you have a pretty good strategy. Like you already know what you're doing. So yeah, good luck with Tufts. And again, if there's anything you're unsure of, you can literally even paste like a sentence or two from your college applications and just ask me what I think. Like you can even do stuff like that. I'm happy to help. Aaron, you are going through the process, dealing with the pressure from family and the stress from writing. Okay. Those are two very large topics. So let me start with the first. Let me start with the one that seems a little easier. Probably the stress from writing comes from like this feeling that you have to um, write to a certain quality level, but also a certain amount of quantity, a certain quantity per day. And especially if if you're like a lot of my students, or sorry, a lot of my viewers, you guys tend to be good at math. If you guys think of it in terms of like a linear equation, that you kind of take the word count and then you just divide it into days, and then you just have to be like, I have to write this many words per day, and 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 the quality aspect of it, and it has to be good enough to go into my applications. So you are assuming that you're basically writing your first draft. Sorry, you're assuming that you're writing your final draft paragraphs. Let's say you have to write 300 words a day or something like that. You're assuming that you're writing 300 final draft words every single day. The problem is that writing isn't actually that linear, at least if in terms of quality. A lot of times what happens is that you actually start with like a real shit 3,000 words, and then it kind of depends on your personality. Some people are more like curator editor types, where they take a shit 3,000 words and then they cull like the quality 1,800 words from that. And then other people are more sort of like launchers, where they write a shit 3,000 words and then they launch into a new 1,800 words, which partly incorporates what they were thinking from, like partly incorporates what they wrote from the first 3,000 words, but it's just like in the process of writing the first 3,000 words, the next 1,800 words are like way more quality, right? So that's not a linear process. Like if you try, you can't write 300 final draft words every day. I mean, you can, but you're not going to be happy, because that's just not the natural writing process. So a lot of times the stress is coming from the fact that you have that and logic stuck in there. It has to be a certain quantity and a certain quality in the very first days of your writing, and the second days and your third days. It's just a linear process, right? In your head, you've mapped it linearly. My solution, again, it really this can get very complicated, because writing is a deeply personal process and people have different processes for their writing. But if I sort of just generalize, I think it's just better for you to drop the quality qualifier up front and just focus on quantity up front, and with the assumption that you're going to throw out a great quantity of it. So, for example, if you think that if you have like the Common App main essay, um, and then like let's just simplify it so it's easy to divide the numbers. Let's just say there's 10 supplementary essay paragraphy things that you have to write, right? So shorter things for the supplements. So 1 and 10. You might think, and let's even make it just easier. Let's just say 10 total, and let's just make it average. Like on average, each one of them is 300 words. Okay, so 300 words, 10 total. That's 3,000 words, right? Like if you think linearly, like this is like a linear function, then you might think, that actually you should have maybe. Now this might sound luxurious because this might not be the way you're actually thinking, but you might be thinking you need to write 6,000 words, right? Two drafts, two competing drafts for every essay that are 300 words each, right? It's not actually like that though in real life. You don't really write two drafts for each of these essay prompts. It turns out that actually after you write the first four, you can basically reuse all the others. Okay, you can reuse the existing four for all the others. So it's actually more like, if anything, it's more like 5 drafts each for the first 4. Okay, which is like 5 times 300, which is times 4, which is 6,000 words, okay, or something like that. But then even it's not like actually like that. It's actually the first draft that's just as painful. Like it's the first essay that's as painful. So for the very first essay, you're actually writing something like 8 drafts to just get that first piece out of the way. But then it turns out that the second and third and fourth essays are just not as painful. You only need to write like 2 drafts each. And then so it's just that initial hump just feels so painful. And the part that doesn't get counted as work, even though it really is work, is writing all the shit. Right? Writing all the shit and getting it all out of your system first, so that you can throw them away. Okay, and like that's the part that just completely gets neglected because it doesn't show up in the final product, right? But that is a huge part of that labor, and so to reduce that stress. Again, focus on quantity. Just write as much awful stream of consciousness garbage about every stupid idea that you have, right? Maybe you have a stupid idea about how your dad got sick, and you're like, oh my God, it's such a cliche. No, and every teacher around you, every college admissions consultant, every friend around you tells you it's the stupidest, clichéest story. But you gotta fucking tell that story, right? It feels important to you, right? Just write it. Just write it first, okay? You could just write it, get it out of your system. All right, maybe you have some stupid thing about like a doll that you had when you were like in kindergarten, in like 3rd grade, and you lost that doll. Okay, sounds stupid as fuck. Write it. Just write it, get it out of your system. Let's say you have a story about, I don't know. Let's say a story about how your coach at your soccer team kind of like chastised you, and it made you a better person. Okay, sounds boring as hell, right? But write it. But the thing is that when you're writing the stupid idea first and just getting it out of the way, the more important thing is not whether it's gonna meet the quality bar of getting into your like. It might not ever come out to a high enough quality to get into your final drafts, right? But at least you don't have to think about it anymore, right? Because your mind keeps just going all over like you have all these ideas in your head, and because you never wrote it, it's just going to stay stuck in your mind. And when it stays stuck in your mind, you feel stagnant and you feel indecisive and you feel like insufficient, right? Just get it out of the way. Just get it out of your system. And that's my biggest piece of advice. So don't do a linear function where you're writing 300 words a day or 500 words a day, okay? Just write a shit ton. Just write a shit ton every day, okay? And you'll find some gems eventually. And whether you're more of that curating type where you're going to sort of curate out of the initial like 3,000, 5,000 words, you're going to curate the parts that you're going to cut the parts out that are good, or whether you're more of like that jumping off type where you take the first like 3,000 words and then you just jump into the next 2,000 words, whatever. Okay. Just write as much as possible. I'm seeing no other questions, by the way, and I encourage you guys to ask questions even when I'm talking. It just makes it smoother for the stream. But I'm going to move on to Aaron's second question, or first question, actually, from his standpoint. Pressure from family. I think pressure from family, a lot of times, this depends on the family. This is also a highly personal question. But a lot of times, the reason the pressure from the family, there's one very easy way to increase pressure from family, and it's to make them not understand anything that's going on. Okay? The more secretive you are, the more closed off you are, the more unpredictable you are, the more you are, unless your family has given up on you because of like psychological trauma issues or whatever like that, like, except for like certain like rare cases, assuming you're kind of more in the sort of middle of the curve in terms of your family relations, that you don't really have extreme family relations, that the best way to increase the amount of pressure from your family is to just let them know nothing. Like, trust me, I'm doing good, blah, blah, blah. They're going to feel awkward, and they might, and you counterintuitively, they won't trust you, and they'll like kind of pile on more pressure. So you might be like, this might be something it depends on your family, and to some of you guys, this might sound like as radical as like, I don't know, as like, like, I don't want to say assassinate because that's too much in the news these days, but it may sound as radical as starting your own country, but you might want to just show your parents some of the drafts you've been working on. Just show how much you're working. Even if you don't really look for their feedback and you don't ask for their feedback, you don't want their feedback, just like show them the actual work that you're doing. And that might be able to reduce some of that pressure just because they know what you're doing, even though they're, but I will not pretend that this is a silver bullet. There's going to be so many, like, families are complicated, okay? But one very common way to increase, one very common thing that parents struggle with is when they feel completely shut out, and all they know, when they're completely shut out and they're just looking at the fortress of you, the only thing they know how to do is like attack your walls. And so they're just going to attack your walls, right? So hopefully that helps. Maybe it doesn't. Just take it or leave it and figure out maybe what part of that adapts, or what part of that you can adapt to your own actual situation. Lightning is asking a question about how descriptive you are. Excuse me. All right, so quick update, by the way. I have about 10-ish more minutes before I move to the members only part of the stream. So just be aware, I won't be able to take like an unlimited number of questions. I'll be here for 10 more minutes before I go into the members only stream. If you are a member, you'll be able to ask me more questions there. How descriptive should I be when I'm stating an extracurricular? Well, first of all, there's actually just a word limit, so you can only be as descriptive as the word limit allows. And then the answer from within that constraint is as descriptive as possible. But specifically, you want to be focusing on actual accomplishments rather than comprehensive overview. Okay, like, it's not that important for me to read the job description, right? Like, what is one, like, let's say that you are the president of a club, right? Well, there's going to be a lot of responsibilities, right? So you can like write a bullet point about every small little thing that you do. But that's not what I care about as an admissions officer. I care more about what did you accomplish with that position, right? Not how big the position was. There's a lot of people who do a lot of busy work. So they just do things. It's very easy to do things without actually accomplishing anything. Um, I'm trying to find an example that a high schooler could relate to, but the classic example is just a meeting. Like you can hold a meeting that accomplishes nothing, right? Everyone talks, everyone shares what they did, and then no one knows what they're supposed to do next. Like it's very easy to do that, and waste 2 hours times 12 people's times, right? So 24 hours worth of time. It's very easy to do that kind of thing in corporate settings, and you will when you guys grow up and go. If I'm going to guess most of you will end up in some sort of corporate setting at some point in your life, you'll notice that there are extremely wasteful meetings. Um, so it's very easy to be doing things, and my emphasis, the emphasis that I would urge you to remember on your extracurriculars is that even if you're only describing 30 or 50% of what you're doing, right? Even if you're cutting out the other 50, 70% of what you're actually doing as the president of that club, if the 30 or 50% that you are describing is like amazing, then it will be remembered. And if it's remembered, then after the admissions officer reads the 14 other students for that day, or 21 other students for that day, or 39 other students for that day, they will still remember you, right? And that's the most important thing. Aaron is saying, honestly, it's a lack of belief that gets me pushing past that. I'm pushing past your lack of belief. Yeah, I think the relationship as a between belief and quantity might be understated. Okay, like people might not really underrated rather. People might not really see the relationship between writing quality, writing quantity or writing volume and belief. The funny thing is that I know this sounds kind of dumb, but if you just write a shit ton, and if you get all the stupid ideas out of your head, you'll be surprised at first of all how many words you've written, and when you've written like thousands of words, you'll be at least encouraged that in the worst case scenario, you can draw on those words. You can cut and paste those words into an essay format, right? So just from a pure sort of mechanical standpoint, just like having a shit ton of words as like your canvas, and just being able to pick and choose from your canvas for the actual essays, that will give you a big sort of base level confidence. It's kind of like on the SAT, just like finishing the 27 questions, even if you have to skip a couple, right? Even if you have to skip like 3 to 4 questions out of 27. The fact that you got to the 27th question, the final question on the digital SAT reading and writing, right? And now you have like maybe 5 minutes left over. Those 5 minutes feel way more chill because you're like, oh, I did it all, right? And it's the same way with writing, just putting all your thoughts down on paper. Just once you put them all down on paper, right? Then anything from now is just bonus, right? So that will help. But more kind of maybe unintuitively. Okay, so the first thing is very mechanical. It's very dumb, but it's very effective. Just get it all down on paper first. Okay, just if you have the requisite quantity, you will feel better. But the second thing that I want to emphasize about the relationship between quantity and belief is that people don't really know what they believe until they write it or say it. It's kind of, and I think you know what I mean. Until you actually say it, until you actually write it, the beliefs that are in your head just feel very abstract, right? You have to actually labor to put these thoughts in your head into words on paper. And that what that does is when you're saying the dumb thing out loud that everyone says, don't write that essay, don't write that essay, don't write that essay, but you just say it all out loud, that actually helps you navigate. Like that process of writing it down includes this sub process of also prioritizing the stories that you want to tell about yourself, right? So then just to fall back on those earlier examples that I was talking about, you're writing about your dad that got sick, your coach that reprimanded you, that doll or toy that you had when you were a kid. These seem like really dumb essays, but as you write that out, you're actually wrestling internally with yourself about what your beliefs are. About what you are and what your story is, what your real story is, what your best story is, right? And in that process, you gain belief in what you should be writing. So again, I know it sounds like maybe potentially too much of a panacea, like too good to be true, but you will not regret just being like, fuck it. Every dumb idea I have, I've written it out now, right? I will write it out now. And then once you've written it all out, you will not regret the fact that you've done that. Okay, you'll feel relief that it's off of you. Moreover, through that process, you will have developed a keener and keener sense of the story that you want to tell. G is asking, this is probably the last question I have to take before going to the members only stream. So here we go. What colleges did I... Oh, this is just a factual question, so I can quickly answer it. If there's anyone else with any other question, you have to ask right now. What colleges did you apply to as a senior, and how was it? So, I honestly... It's been such a long time, so I'm actually going to pull up my page. I think I have a page for this. By the way, if this stream is helpful for you, since I'm going to multitask anyway... Quickly multitasking, if this stream has been helpful for you, please hit the like button. Let the YouTube algorithm know that I'm doing a good job, that I'm being helpful. Helps other people know that I also exist. And then, office hours is always more fun when there's more people involved, So it would be win-win for you guys and for me. Bro, what's the name of my own website with that thing? Oh, I see. This is not the private. Okay. Yeah. All right. I wrote this a long time ago, so let's see if this holds up. Okay. So this was me back in the 2400 days. So I got 510s, and I did the IB, and I didn't do earlies because I didn't know anything about college applications at the time. I just sort of I just procrastinated on everything. And I got acceptance letters from Chicago, Amherst, Williams, Swarthmore, Pomona, and NYU. I got a deferral from Columbia, and I got rejected from Northwestern, Harvard, Yale, and Princeton. So that was me. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That number doesn't check out because I feel like there were 2 more schools, but I don't remember. So I feel like, all right, whatever. I can't think of where else I would have applied to though. But I assume I did my work when I actually did this thing, so that was actually my college list back in the day. Yeah. Wow, this is such an old page. Anyway, that's me. The short answer, though, is that my top 2 schools that I was applying to that I really, really wanted to get into were Chicago and Columbia, and Williams and Amherst, actually. And I got into 3 out of 4 of them. I really wanted to get into Chicago, Columbia, Williams, and Amherst. I was very into liberal arts colleges. I was very into the core curriculum idea. And those are, like, I didn't apply to Brown, Dartmouth, Penn. I don't think I even knew enough about Northwestern. I think I just applied to Northwestern just because it was easy or something. Maybe they didn't have supplements. But, like, Northwestern wasn't really the style of school I was looking at. I was kind of looking at more... If I had known about it, I probably would have applied to, like, St. John's College or in St. John's College or was it Deep Springs? Frick, I forgot the name of the. Yeah, Deep Springs. Deep Springs. I probably would have applied to Deep Springs, St. John's College, or Reed College. Like those are other schools that I think I would have vibed with. Maybe Reed is a little too, maybe they're a little too funky, but I would have been so into it, honestly, as a high school student. So those are some other schools that I should have applied to if I had known about it, if I had had more help. But everything I did was self-studied. Everything I did was just, I mean, I think College Confidential existed in my time, but I don't think I knew about it. I definitely didn't know about it. I think it might have existed in my time, but I didn't know about it. So I just was just self guiding everything, and it was not easy. But yeah, that was my process. And how was my process? My process was, I mean, I still enjoyed it. You know why I enjoyed it? It's because I knew what I wanted. I wanted to be more connected to Western, like the history of Western civilization. And there were certain schools that respected liberal arts. And I was really into those schools that respected the liberal arts. So it made it a lot easier for me to write about my schools and write about myself when I was already excited about the schools that I wanted to get into, right? Um, it's a lot, like, even if I'm wrong, right? Even if my ideas about college are wrong, the fact that I'm excited still makes the whole process easier. Does that make sense? So that was 2007. 2006, I guess, is probably when I was writing it. 2006 was when I was writing it, and 2007 was when I got in. All right, so that's it for me, guys. I'm gonna move over to the members only stream. Please hit the like button if that was helpful, and if you are a member, you'll be able to keep continuing chatting with me and asking me other questions in the next part of the stream. If not, I'll see you in the Discord server where I can also give you advice there for free whenever I have time. All right, until next time, keep on learning, keep on growing. Peace.